Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope you guys are having a great day. I am tired, man. My head is literally spinning round and round with everything that is the Dallas Cowboys and what is going on with them. It's crazy. It's crazy to say the least. So, if this story is anywhere close to being right, that this is catastrophic news if you are a Dallas Cowboy fan and if you are, of course, a Dak Prescott fan. Because the way they're talking about G-Bag Nation, it's not good. Also, too, Brian Brodus is saying that Jerry Jones is really enamored with the Deion Sanders possibility of coming to Dallas and backs up why he believes that this is credible. I don't know what to believe. All I know is it also feels like they're really trying to sell Kellen Moore to us. And I don't think – here's what I think about Kellen Moore. That would be part of the Jason Garrett coaching tree. I wasn't happy with the Jason Garrett coaching tree. It really blows my mind because listen to the guys on 105.3 The Fan. They go through and they talk about how bad Dak Prescott may be coming back from the injury, that he won't be able to run, he won't be able to push off, that he won't be able to step into his throws, that his throws won't get downfield, and that he's just going to be bad because of the recovery from the leg. Maybe this isn't necessarily a bad thing that they're doing, that they're tamping down expectations. So if he actually is back to being healthy, then that's looking better. Because I think more than anything else, the Dallas Cowboys, the expectations a lot of times are unrealistic. And that's what gets us in trouble. So let's go to this tape, and I want to talk about this some more with the idea of Deion Sanders. I don't know who it's going to be. I really feel like Robert Saleh will be brought in as defensive coordinator. That much I really feel. That I think they look at it and say, we need to go in a complete another direction, get a younger voice. The Deion part, Deion's going to want a lot more money than the Joneses are going to want to pay. Deion's going to want to bring in a lot of his own coaches that the Joneses won't want to pay. So let's listen to this and we'll get to it.
Hammered with Deion Sanders, and Deion would be willing to take the job if he was offered. Okay, so you have that. We were just talking about Dak. Clifton Aubrey says his running is no longer pro level. His passing will be heavily impacted. He'll no longer be able to drive the football with his legs. Wait. Yeah, the ball will lose energy at the end of his passes, leading to picks or underthrows. I had no idea this avulsion fracture had this kind of potential, but that's the second text from somebody who kind of knows what they're talking about with the kinetic energy that's flowing from the ground up and how that, really wicked detachment from ligament from bone, that's the hamstring area, right? Might impact his athleticism moving forward. That would be just horrible luck, the games after you give the deal, but you kind of did it to yourself, giving him the original second contract after.
Okay, let me hold on for a second here because I want to give my 2 cents worth at least. He says you kind of did this to yourself by giving him the contract. I will say you kind of did it to yourself by having 2 rookies starting on the offensive line and not having a running game. It's not Dak's fault that you did not put what you need out there. Because when you look at an offense that, Jalen Hurts getting paid out there and going to the divisional round, and they've got multiple players that are paid to be wide receivers, and that whole offense, the majority of it, goes through Saquon. They protect the quarterback by having a great offensive line. They protect the quarterback by also being able to run the football. So when you say they did it to themselves. They did by not providing what you need to have a capable offense. Second part of this I'll say is I believe Tyron Smith had the same exact injury. And then came back the next year and actually had the best year he had for probably the last 4 years, where he was all pro. But go on.
The compound fracture of his leg. So hopefully that's not true. If that is true, then you absolutely should be looking at moving on from him before the accelerator in his contract, the 5th day of the league year, shouldn't you, Chief?
Well, yes, you should, but that would take some foresight and not waiting to the last minute on things. Actually putting somewhat of a plan together.
Yeah,
and I don't see them doing that.
And I guess because the whole thing is injury guaranteed, I don't know how that would work. If you move on from him saying, well, that injury happened, which makes us look at the contract differently, and that's why we're releasing you, even if it's a successful surgery and he's on the comeback trail, I don't know how all of that works, but I know the Cowboys are really up against it, and I don't know. Am I too pessimistic thinking this might be the worst state that Cowboys football has been in since Brian Broaddus worked for him?
Yes. No, I don't think it's not too pessimistic. It's not too pessimistic,
and
because
you're not wrong.
it's certainly in the cards that these injuries have piled up in a way that is going to prevent Dak from being anywhere close to the height of his powers. And you've just paid him, you've just locked him up with a ridiculous amount of money.
Right, which, that handicaps you. Certainly that's what they'll tell you from being able to do and improve the team and put more talent around him. It feels a lot like the 8-8 purgatory years from like 10 to 12, 11 to 13, really as they tried to build up that offensive line. That's when you had Tyron Smith drafted, you had Travis Frederick drafted, then in 14 you had Zach Martin, you had a healthy Tony Romo, and then things took off from there. But it does seem like, I don't know that they'll be so bad to where it's 5-11, but if they don't have a competent quarterback, then it easily could get that bad. The reason they stayed afloat those 3 years was because Romo was outstanding.
Yeah, still couldn't make the playoffs, but at least they were an 8-8 team. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're hoping that they can continue to do these couple of years while they're rebuilding. But if Dak's not healthy enough to run or push the ball downfield, and you have a bad offensive line with no running back, that might be really tough sledding. 214 says, I can't trust anything Ed Werder says in regards to what Deion is thinking.
I disagree on that.
Same.
Listen, there's a lot of things that you don't have to like any of us. That's fine. There are connections that Ed Werder has. He did cover Deion Sanders when he was here during those Super Bowl runs. Ed Werder also has ties to Colorado. That's
does he?
Home state. So, he's got ties. He knows people in the state. He knows people there that are involved with the universities. He's very, very well respected up there. Again, you don't have to like him, but this one I would absolutely trust that he's not going to lead you down the wrong path here.
At one time, Jerry was one of the most unpredictable owners in the NFL. Has he refound that, or is he insisting upon doing something like that to fuse?
All right, we'll leave it right there with G-Bag Nation. Shout out to them, of course. I'm not ready to go ahead and say that he's done. I mean, the way you listen to those guys, they're ready to cut him before March 5th, before the money gets guaranteed. And I believe if you do, you're still incurring about $150 million in dead money. You are, like it or hate it, Dak Prescott, unless he retires because of injury or something, you're going to have him for a minimum of 2 more years, and more than likely 3. So what we need to do is maximize what we can get out of him in that time, and that is the best way you help a quarterback, get him a running game. Get him a running game, because Tony Romo started breaking down. DeMarco Murray had that 1,800 yards. And that season was one of the closest we've been to make it to the NFC Championship game. If it wasn't for the catch, no catch. Actually, if it wasn't for the coaching that on 4th and 1 decided to go for it all as opposed to let's just pick up the first down and eat up more clock because Aaron frickin' Rodgers is on the other side. But I digress. And another reason why I don't want Kellen more. That's the Jason Garrett coaching tree. All righty, good people. Whew. Maybe the rest of the evening will slow down some, but we'll see. Peace out.